So, hello everybody, and welcome to the Dartmouth Wanderers presents Coastline Healthy Cooking with me, Jamie. And today my guest is Rita.
Yes.
And Rita, do you mind introducing yourself a little bit?
Right. I'm Rita Latoile. I'm presently a board of directors member for Coastline, past president, retired, as many of you out there probably are, and looking forward to this day.
Yes. So thank you so much for being here.
You're
We're really
welcome.
excited to have you. So the recipe we're cooking today, we came up with it. Rita came to me and she said, I'm looking for a lower sodium version of a fish recipe because most of the fish recipes you find now are just loaded with salt and fat or fried,
Right.
deep fried fish. It's delicious, but there's a lot of ways you can make a healthier version of fish. So we came up with a pan-seared tilapia, which might be a fish you might not have worked with before.
Right.
I think you said you might not have, you haven't done this before.
You're right.
Okay, but you like fish, so.
Yes.
Okay. With a fruit salsa and then a roasted asparagus. So let's get started.
Right.
So we're gonna have Rita start chopping everything for our salsa.
On this, we should be okay. The fish would be another case for me.
Yeah. And I'm gonna start the fish for us. So for the salsa, we're gonna put in it cilantro. We have fresh mango, some red onion, jalapenos, and a red pepper with some lime juice. And it all just gets chopped up, diced up nice and small, and thrown in a bowl together. So while Rita's working on that, I'm gonna start the asparagus. So the asparagus is probably the easiest part of this whole recipe. Do you like asparagus, Rita?
I love it.
Yeah.
One of my favorites.
It's not, I think it's been gaining popularity as a vegetable. It's not one of the ones, it's only really in season in the summer.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you don't really know what to do with it besides steaming it. So doing it this way, we're gonna roast it.
Oh, that's different. I've never done that.
Oh, you
No, I've never
haven't?
done roasted, so I'm going to watch that one carefully.
So roasting vegetables really brings out the sweetness of them, and it's really easy. So I'll tell you how we're going to do it today. So asparagus, they have these really woody bottoms on them that if you tried to eat it, you just couldn't. You'd be chewing on it all day and you wouldn't get through it.
Is it bitter? Would make it bitter?
The
if you did it?
bottoms can be a little bit bitter, and raw asparagus isn't as flavorful as the rest of it. So you need to cook it.
Oh, I see.
You can have it raw if you like it that way.
Doesn't sound too
I know.
good.
But it's much better when you roast it, especially. You can also grill asparagus, and you don't really have to do much to it. So what we're going to do today is just a little bit of olive oil. We have extra virgin olive oil. And all you do is just drizzle a little bit. You really don't need a lot. I'm probably using maybe a teaspoon, maybe 2 teaspoons of olive oil. And we
Olive oil
do
is so good, though. It's
salt and pepper.
So much healthier.
Yeah, so much healthier. You can use canola oil if that's all you have, but we have extra virgin olive oil today. So I just sprinkled it on some salt and pepper, and then I'm going to toss it with my hands on our baking sheet. And I sprayed the baking sheet because I've done it many ways before, and I've done it without spraying the baking sheet first. It sticks like crazy. So you're better off spraying the pan and then putting the asparagus on the pan. Okay. So then this goes in the oven at 400 degrees for just about 20 minutes until they're just tender, kind of tender crisp. And you might want to flip them once way through,
And that should
halfway
do it.
through, so they cook evenly on both sides. Right, but there's also, so asparagus, we'll talk about asparagus for a minute. Because you said you don't eat it very often maybe, or?
Not really.
Okay.
I love it, but
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
eat it often.
So asparagus, it only has 4 calories per spear.
Wonderful. I'm going to buy it all the time
Yeah, 4 calories per spear. And this time of year, especially, it's on sale a lot. So it's a great time of year to buy asparagus. So when you're having a whole serving, I mean, even if you have, you know, half your plate of the asparagus, you can use as much as you want. It's totally guilt-free.
Oh, wow.
And the way we did it, we just added a little bit of salt, so it is still a low-sodium recipe. And asparagus is also a really good source of folate. So, do you know much about folate?
No.
No.
So tell me.
Yeah. So folate, I think what comes to mind most for me is pregnant women.
Oh, no wonder I don't know much about it. It's been many years for
that. So it's really important. That's where it's most important. It's also important for red blood cell formation too, so and helping you prevent anemia.
Oh.
But for unborn babies especially, it helps prevent certain birth defects. So that's why prenatal vitamins are so important for someone who's trying to get pregnant. So that's a little bit about asparagus. Give it a try sometime. And I'm going to move on to our tilapia. So for this recipe, you really can use any kind of fish that you prefer. If you don't like tilapia, I don't know, what's your favorite kind of fish?
Salmon.
Salmon? This would go great with salmon. But we chose tilapia because it's a little bit more affordable.
It's true.
Yeah, it's on sale a lot. I believe it's one of the more sustainable fish, which is a big thing these days, the sustainable fish movement. And it was on sale, so I said, hey, I'm going to use tilapia.
Bargain.
Yeah. So if you're not a big fish cooker, but you cook fish all the time, you just want to take a second to run your fingers down the top of it, because there can be those little tiny pin bones in there.
Oh, if my husband ever gets that, he won't touch it. He's
Oh,
funny for bones. Yeah.
Yeah. It can be, it's not so tasty. I think you can actually choke on those if you miss them and you bite into one. So take a second to run your fingers down to make sure there's no pin bones in there. And if you do find one, you can take some tweezers and get it out. So how we're going to cook this fish today, you might see it usually fried, deep fried, and delicious, of course.
But not so good for you.
Yes, not so good for you. Loaded with salt, loaded with fat. And just, there's so many different ways to do it.
There is, and a lot of people think fried is the better way to eat it as far as enjoying it more. But once they try the other way,
that's true.
They'll be surprised.
Give it a chance. You never know what you might like. You know, they say it can take about 15 times at least of trying a new food for you to actually like it. Even if it's not kind of an acquired taste. You know, they say when you think about things like, even like a beer, nobody liked a beer the first time they had it. It's kind of an acquired, you know, you kept trying it and then you liked it.
You have to be careful.
Maybe that's not the best example, but
could be a problem.
Things like things like yogurt. Maybe you didn't like it the first time you tried it, but if you kept trying it, you might find that you liked it. Yeah, you got to give things a second chance.
Now you said only half.
Yep, just half of the red pepper.
Right, so we'll put that one aside over here.
And I am adding, so I have 1/4 of a cup of flour, and we're using a whole wheat flour rather than a white flour, so we can add a little bit more fiber and nutrients into it. And then I'm just going to add a little bit of pepper to my flour to season it up. And then the last thing, since we decided we both like a little bit of spice but not too much.
Yeah, not crazy.
I'm just going to put in like a half a teaspoon. Ooh, I can't get my finger in there. Like a half a teaspoon of chili powder. And a little bit of chili powder goes a long way. Have you ever done that where you're like, oh, it looks so good, it smells good, you keep putting it in, and then it's
a mistake. Big mistake.
I find that the flavor of chili powder kind of intensifies as it cooks. The flavor really comes out, so it can get really spicy. And doing it in the flour, so what we're going to do with it is we're just going to saute it in the pan. with a little bit of olive oil for a few minutes on each side. And that's all you have to do. And we're using a dredge in flour because you get a little bit of a crispy crust on the outside.
Okay.
Rather than if you just didn't put anything on it or you just grilled it. And it really makes a nice flavor. So you just want to get it all coated. And then I'm going to add our olive oil to the dish. And for this too, you don't need a lot. Because if you keep adding too much, you're going to end up deep frying it.
Oh, really?
If you add too much. So we just want to saute it. And I think my pan is really hot here.
Are we using the whole onion here?
You can just do a couple tablespoons of the onion. So that one's pretty small, so maybe just half we'll need of that. Yeah.
Okay.
Chopped up nice and small.
Put that over here too.
Because onion is such a strong flavor. Turn that down. Okay. So pick up your fish and just kind of shake it off a little bit because you don't want all that extra flour. And then lay it in the pan and just leave it alone.
Leave it.
If you try to move it around too much, it'll break apart, and I've made that mistake many times. I get a little too eager with my fish and I just keep moving it around. So we're gonna let it sit.
Leave it be.
So
happy fish.
I wanted to talk a little bit about some of the health benefits of fish.
Okay.
Now, how often do you eat fish?
Well, I wish I ate it every day.
Yeah.
But maybe once or twice a week.
Okay, and that's perfect. So the recommendation for fish is twice a week.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, twice a week. And fish, do you know what fish is good for? How does fish, why is it good for you?
I don't know.
You don't know? Okay, that's great. So fish is good for so many different things. So it's really important for your heart. It's good for your brain. It's really just good for your entire body. I know a lot of people when they were kids, if you're older, you probably used to take fish oil supplements in school, right? Did you?
No, I didn't.
You didn't?
No.
I know. I think maybe my parents did.
Maybe they
took,
did.
Fish oil supplements.
You can figure I'm old as dirt, so.
No. Okay.
So your parents are a lot younger.
They don't do that anymore. But fish oil is really good for lowering cholesterol. So it's those omega-3s. They're really good for lowering your cholesterol. They're really good for your brain. You might have heard EPA, DHA, all those different acronyms that or probably just go whoop, like kind of over your head because they're these big, huge, long words. But all you need to know is that fish is good for you. I also get a lot of people asking about mercury in fish.
Right.
It's a big concern for a lot of people. So a little bit about that, we really don't have to worry about it. For the most part, we don't have to worry. It's really when it comes to the bigger fish, so if you get fish like shark, fish like, let's see, any kind of really big fish, because they're bigger, they've been around longer, they absorb more.
Oh, I see.
So, and when it comes to pregnant women, and so again with our pregnant women, young children, they're the ones who need to watch out for mercury. But even for them, fish is really an important part of their healthy diet. But otherwise, you don't really need to worry about it.
Now, how much of this are we putting?
Now the lime,
Is that,
we're
should
gonna
that be
do,
after the fact?
what was that?
Would that be after the fact?
You can add it in now. You just need to cut it in half.
Okay.
And cut it in half this way.
Yeah, this way.
Yeah,
This
either way it doesn't
This
really
way?
matter, yeah.
Okay.
And then squeeze half of it into the bowl.
Okay.
So we just want the juice. And I'm gonna give our fish a flip here. Looks
And
like
you
it's
do you
coming
do that
along.
just once? You flip it once only? Or?
Yeah, just flip it once. So see this awesome color we have on here? How it got
good.
so nice and golden brown.
Okay.
Tip it up a little bit. That's from the flour. And it's not adding that many calories. It's not like you're breading it, deep frying
Right.
it. but that adds so much flavor when you put a little bit of flour in there. It makes such a difference. So, I'm going to check on our asparagus, and I wish I could show it to you, but it's already turning bright green.
Oh,
right?
is it ever? It's changing.
It's kind of
changing its color.
It's getting a little bubbly in here. I'm just going to give it a quick flip. And these are little spears, so they might even cook a little bit faster. So while Rita finishes up with our jalapeno, so far we've got the red pepper, the cilantro, the red onion, right?
Right.
And then we're doing the jalapeno.
And we're taking out
Yeah.
the little guys in here because they'll kill us.
They will. So if you've never really worked with peppers before, all the spice is in the seeds. The spice is all in the seeds and the ribs. So if you take out the seeds and the ribs, you're not going to have a spicy salsa at all. We decided we wanted to go midway.
Right.
So we're just going to take out the seeds.
Now that I've stopped crying from the onion.
I know.
Not really. I'm only
I
teasing
cry
you.
when I cut onions every time. It never fails.
That one wasn't bad. that color onion can usually be pretty good. It's the other ones that will take it
Red
away.
onions are usually a little more mild.
Are we using the whole thing though? The whole, all of it, or part of it?
How about we do, since this is kind of an individual serving,
Okay.
we'll use half for now. If you want it more spicy or you want more of that pepper flavor, you can add in the whole thing. And for us, we'll use half today. So I'm going to show you how to cut up our mango.
That's going to be interesting.
Yeah, I know, because you said you've never cut up a mango before.
Never done it before.
And like I was telling Rita earlier, I have messed up and destroyed many a mango trying to cut it up. So it's one of those things that kind of takes practice. So what you want to do with the mango, they have this huge core in the middle. It is a whopper of a core. And it goes right down the middle. It's not like a seed. It's just this solid core. I don't know how else to explain it. So you want to cut on both sides around the core. So let's see how I can do this here. And I've got, if you want a nice ripe mango, make sure the ones that are more green, they're kind of fragrant. They almost kind of smell like cilantro to me. Smell a little,
it
kind
does
of
have a little bit.
floral, right?
It is. But how do you actually tell that it's ready to be, when you're buying it?
How is it right?
Yeah, right. Like watermelon and all of those things that you have to really...
Usually if you go by, they'll be a little bit softer, so they'll give a little bit on the outside. So if you feel this one, feel how it's a little bit soft to the touch, but it doesn't feel like it's gooey in the inside. And they'll have a slight smell, so it's like with a peach, you can kind of slightly smell the peach. That means it's ripe. If it smells really fruity, it's probably overripe, and if it's mushy, don't buy it. So with the mango, you saw I just cut the sides off, and we have this big thing left in the middle. If I try to cut this, it's very hard.
That's interesting.
So I'll let you feel it so you can see it. So if you try to push the knife in there, it just stops and won't go anywhere.
It's like,
right?
it almost feels like solid wood.
Yeah, it's really hard. And
It does.
So many times I've tried to go straight down the middle, cutting my mango up, and just like fighting with it, and it doesn't work. So it kind of seems like not a lot of...
Right, it seems like you're wasting a lot, but you have no choice.
But they have really big cores, so you can throw that away.
So if you bought a bigger one,
yeah, if you bought a really big one,
that you end up with more.
Yeah, exactly.
Possibly.
So I'll give you half.
Okay. And you want me to cut this?
So you're going to keep it, you're not going to cut the skin off. So kind of like an avocado. I'm going to take that off the heat. So kind of like an avocado, you'll just make like a crosshatch. You'll cut it inside without going through the skin. So cut however many. We're doing a mango today, so you might want to make it a little smaller than if you were just going to eat it. See how I'm cutting across?
Ooh.
Yeah, be careful. That knife can go flying. And as it's cooking, or as you're cutting it up, you can really smell it even more.
Well, we'll see how I manage this. It's going to be interesting. As I told you, I'm left-handed, so being
that's
left-handed, there's a lot of compliments on that, and positive and negative, however.
So I'm going to take out our asparagus, because you can smell it in here, right? It smells like asparagus.
Yes, it does.
And this is what the asparagus looks like when it comes out.
Now I should just put this in, or not.
I know, I got distracted, right?
That's okay.
So we cut it up inside, and then what you're gonna do is take it and turn it inside out.
Ta-da.
Yeah,
Hey, look at
it
that.
looks kind of cool.
It almost looks like a pineapple.
Yeah, it does. That's the
Doesn't it?
outside of a pineapple.
Oh.
So then you just take your knife and you cut off the little cubes. So it's almost like a do-it-yourself. It kind of cuts itself. And you cut off the cubes, and then you can just throw those. You can also just eat it right out of here if you wanted to, if you were just eating the mango. And mango is really good for you too. I know we talked about asparagus, but mango only has 100 calories per serving.
Well, that's good too.
So yeah, not a lot. So it's a guilt-free. You can almost eat it as dessert, especially when they're really ripe. They're so sweet. You really, you could eat it by itself without anything else. See how it's just coming right off here? You can cut down as close as you want to the skin. And then once you get there, just throw it away. And this is the easiest way I've found to cut up a mango.
Yeah,
Is that I've tried other ways and it just, I'm always making a mess. Here, I'll bring this over to you. I'm gonna scrape this in there. And if you wanted more mango, you can add 2 mangoes. So with salsas, it's so flexible what you can put in
What you
it.
can put in a salsa.
Yeah. If you don't like mango, you could use pineapple. You could even make an apple salsa. Apples are in season right now.
It's true.
There's so many different options. So now we've got all of our salsa ingredients in there. So we've got the cilantro, the mango, our jalapeno,
Peppers,
and our red peppers, and our red onions. And you can see how beautiful and vibrant that is.
See how pretty.
Isn't it beautiful?
Oh, is that going the right way? No, it is. I'm looking at it for me. Set up for them.
So it's beautiful. The color on that, it's just amazing. So I think we're ready to start to try this.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that was fast, right?
That
This
was
is like
quick.
a 20-minute meal, if that. So I got us a plate. And I'll put our asparagus on the plate. And you can see, look how small they got.
Oh, they shrunk quite a
Yeah,
bit.
they lost.
Oh, that's interesting
They lost
too.
a bit of weight. While
No
they were
wonder
in that.
there's not much to them as far as
I
calories.
know. Okay. All right. Put that
Yeah,
there.
good
And then we'll get our fish. Put it right there. Move this out of the way. And then you can add as much salsa as you like. And put it right over the top of the fish.
All over the fish?
Yeah.
Oh.
And like I said, you can eat that just with chips if you want to too. Oh, this looks amazing.
Yeah, that looks good.
So fresh, fast. The salsa will keep for a few days in the refrigerator. And then we can just dig in. Look, it's so pretty.
Okay, that's so good.
So
It's
I got
amazing.
you a fork. I got me a fork. And
We can try.
I forgot to get you a knife.
That's okay.
But we can share. Okay. So here we go. Here we go. So cutting into the fish here, you can see how it's flaky. So that means it's done.
Okay.
And I want to get a little bit of everything on the fork. Okay. Whoops. See, I'm making a mess.
It's a little difficult because we
I
don't
know.
have the plate in front of us. You normally have your plate in front of you.
That's good. It's fresh. Any kind of fish with a fruit, they just pair so well together. You get a little bit of zing from the lime. And we didn't add, how much salt did we add?
You added just a little bit.
Just a little bit to the fish, and that's it. That's all you need.
I would think maybe if I had to, I could do without the salt.
Yeah.
And still.
You really don't even need it.
Oh, that is very good.
And then we'll try our asparagus.
Oops.
Roasting them brings out that sweetness of it. And you could put any kind of roasted vegetable with it you wanted.
Very good.
So good. Oh, so this is a really fast, easy meal. And I'm so happy you were here today.
Well,
Thank you
I'm
so
glad
much
you
for
invited
that.
me.
So thank you so much for joining us today. And I hope you try this recipe at home.
It's really good and very simple.